The following video is a tutorial for the basic maintenance of HammerHead Mole bolted piercing tools with the PowerPort reverse feature. This tutorial does not cover the service and maintenance of the head assembly. For service information specific to your piercing tool and head assembly, please refer to your operator's manual or contact your local authorized HammerHead Trenchless equipment dealer. Before servicing your piercing tool, identify the tool model and the reverse mechanism. Bolted PowerPort tools reverse with a quarter turn of the rear whip hose and have 4 or more bolts on the back of the tool. Inspect the exterior of the tool body. Check for cracks, severe wear, and damage from utility strikes. Replace the body assembly when necessary, as damage could lead to future failure. Inspect the whip hose for rips or tears. Bolted PowerPort tools feature either a replaceable head or one of 2 reciprocating head designs, the active head and the catamount head, which is distinguished by the spanner wrench marks near the front of the head. Inspect the head assembly for wear. The head assembly must be replaced when the wear face is worn nearly through to the body. Shown here is acceptable wear on a reciprocating head tool. Replacement may be required when moderate to severe wear is apparent. Perform a tip test to assure the striker is sliding freely within the body. Tip the tool. The striker should float freely from one end to another. Secure the piercing tool using either a pipe stand or a chain wrench. Remove the external whip hose. To remove the rear assembly, start by loosening the tail bolts approximately 2 rotations each and unscrew the rear assembly from the body. Remove and clean the rear assembly. And finally, slide out the striker. Be careful not to damage the internal body threads. There are 3 major components to all HammerHead Mole piercing tools: the body assembly, striker, and rear assembly. Inspect the tool body for debris. Clean the interior of the tool body by brushing or swabbing. Catamount tools contain an air tube inside at the front of the body. Inspect the tube. It should be straight and centered within the head assembly. A catamount tool can be identified by determining if there are spanner wrench slots near the head assembly. Do not brush or swab the interior body of a catamount tool without removal of the head assembly. To clean a catamount body, use a low-pressure solvent and an air hose. The catamount striker has a port in the front that lines up with an interior air tube. Inspect the port for debris and clean as necessary. Remove the rings off the striker and inspect and clean the ring grooves with a wire brush or wire wheel. Do not grind, polish, or sand the striker. Inspect the ring grooves. The grooves must be square. Worn ring grooves may cause poor performance and the striker should be replaced. Inspect the length of the striker body for cracks, fractures, or any other external damage. Cracked or fractured strikers must be replaced. Perform an internal inspection of the valve port for debris. Brush and swab as necessary. Clean the striker rings and install on the striker. Check the striker rings for wear with a straight edge. The rings should stand proud of the ring groove. Shown here is a ring in need of replacement. Notice the gap between the straight edge and the ring. Check the ring gaps with 2 US quarters. Consult the operator's manual for exact ring gap specifications. Trim the rings if necessary. Before reinstalling the striker, lubricate the tool body, the striker rings, and the striker port on catamount strikers. Install the striker into the body. When reinstalling the striker on catamount models, be careful not to damage the air tube at the front of the body. Slowly install the striker, and if necessary, rotate the striker to help line up the air tube with the striker port. After installation, visually confirm the air tube is properly aligned with the striker. Check to see if the control stud is at the bottom of the detent slot. If damaged, service is required to further inspect the control stem and control sleeve. Please refer to your operator's manual or contact your local authorized Hammerhead Trenchless equipment dealer. This valve displays acceptable wear. Inspect the control sleeve. The sleeve must be translucent and free of rips or tears. Any solid-colored sleeves must be replaced. The control sleeve should act as a spring. Measure the length of the compressed valve assembly from the base of the anvil to the top of the valve. The control stem should be replaced if its length is more than plus or minus 1/16 of an inch from the manufacturer's specification. Inspect the rear anvil. Rear anvils with broken threads should be replaced. If replacing the valve rings, first remove the valve from the control stem. Remove the control stud with the socket provided with your piercing tool. The rings on a power port valve should stand proud when centering the rings by hand. Rings must be replaced when side-to-side movement is apparent or the ring does not stand proud of the valve. Remove the rings with a utility knife. Prepare the new valve rings by stretching and warming the material. Place the rings onto the valve. Slide the provided hose clamp assembly over the valve ring and tighten. After at least 2 minutes, remove the hose clamp assembly and repeat on the other valve ring. Remove the hose clamps from the valve. Reinstall the valve onto the control stem. Anti-seize and reinstall the control stud. Torque the control stud to manufacturer's specifications located in the operator's manual. Before installing the rear assembly, lubricate the valve rings and the striker bore. Apply anti-seize to the rear anvil and the body threads. Install the rear assembly into the body. Check the operator's manual for rear assembly instructions. Some models require full installation of the rear anvil, while others require backing off the rear anvil up to 1/8 of a turn. Tighten and torque the tail bolts in a star pattern according to manufacturer's specifications located in the operator's manual. Finish the reassembly by tightening the rear whip hose with an open-face wrench. Perform a tip test to assure the striker is sliding freely within the body. Tip the tool. The striker should freely float from one end to another. Following a regular maintenance schedule will keep your Hammerhead Mole piercing tools running at maximum efficiency.